This is One on One. There he is, John Pietrowski, Artistic Director of a great organization called Playwrights Theater. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you for having me on today.
It's our honor here at NJPAC. Tell us about Playwrights Theater. What is it?
Playwrights Theater has been around for 28 years. We are a professional new play development and arts education organization. We work with writers from all over the country and writers from New Jersey, developing plays, some from scratch, some in various stages of development. We do productions. We do a whole host of readings. We have a couple of special programs that we run, including one of my favorites called the New Jersey Emerging Women Playwrights Program. So we have about 10 female New Jersey writers involved with that right now, and we actually spend 18 months with them developing a work from some 13 pages to pieces that come in almost completely finished. We give them 3 private readings over the course of the year, and then a public reading at the end of the 18-month process. And we also do a program called the New Jersey Literary Artist Fellowship Program, which is co-sponsored with the New Jersey State Council on the Arts, where we take the winners of the fellowships in playwriting, prose, and poetry, and we provide them with professional performances of the works in the communities around where they live.
You're not only a playwright, you're not only running this organization, you're an actor, you've been part of this, I don't want to call it industry, art form for these multiple art forms for many, many years.
Yeah.
But one of the things I'm particularly fascinated by is, again, we're here at the PAC, but at the PAC, at the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Sandy, one of the things that took place, one of the very special things that took place is some young people got up and read what they wrote about their experiences in connection with Hurricane Sandy, the suffering, the experiences, and that was connected to your organization. Describe that.
Yeah, we got a grant from the Community Foundation of New Jersey, the Dodge Foundation, and a whole raft of other organizations as part of the New Jersey Recovery Fund to do writing residencies in storm-affected communities in New Jersey. So we're in the process right now of going all the way from Hoboken, all the way down to Cape May, to do about 20 residencies in schools and community-based organizations all along the storm-affected area. The program that we did on a couple of nights ago was a program with 2 groups, 100 Reasons to Live and You Cannot Be Replaced. And they are suicide prevention groups.
Why would you even be having kids write about suicide prevention in connection with Hurricane Sandy?
Well, I mean, the pieces themselves weren't about suicide prevention.
But a lot of emotional issues here.
There are a lot of emotional issues.
Talk about that.
And one of the things that the arts can do, and especially for younger kids who often don't have the opportunity in the way that education is going now to have these times and these places to express their feelings, what they're thinking about, their responses to things. And what we are allowing them to do is to get those thoughts out, to talk about them, and to do it in a disciplined, controlled environment where they can process their emotions, they can put it into a container like a piece of prose, poetry, playwriting, or music. And then that added element of it, which we saw a couple of nights ago, which is almost like an initiation rite, if you think about it. You know, you sort of ask them to speak their deepest truths about themselves and how they feel about things.
Were they reading what they wrote?
No, they were performing it. They were performing it. Of the 7 kids that were up on that stage, 5 of them had never been on a stage before.
No.
Yes, absolutely.
They get up.
They got up.
They wrote, first of all, hard enough to write about your emotions.
Right.
All connected to Sandy.
All connected to Sandy.
And then they perform what?
They performed 2 poems and 2 songs that they wrote. The 2 songs that they actually wrote, they did them with harmonies.
And your folks helped them.
Yes.
The reaction?
The reaction of the audience?
Yeah.
They got a very long, sustained applause at the end of it. We closed the show, so I knew how scared they were, so I immediately jumped up and ran backstage to see how they were.
What's that like for you?
It makes me
You've seen
cry.
a lot of shows, but what was that like for you?
When you know who those kids are, what they've been through, not just with the storm, but also that they're a member of 100 Reasons to Live.
That's right.
You know? So they've been through some very difficult personal storms themselves.
Kids in Point Pleasant, name some of the communities.
Manasquan, it was the Manasquan area there, which of course
Hit hard.
Hit hard. And they had a lot of stories and a lot of experiences, but they also had their own sort of personal inner storms that they were dealing with, you know?
So it's not just about Sandy.
No, and I don't think that by going in and sort of, you don't necessarily have to hit something right on the head in order for it to be about something, you know? You don't have to go in and write about Sandy for something to be about Sandy. And an interpersonal relationship that you might have with somebody is going to change as a result of that storm. So if you're going to write about that, you're still writing about Sandy. It's your life in the context of that storm, you know? Now, granted, the stuff that we put up on stage were poems and songs about the storm. But there's a whole raft of other things, too, that they're writing.
Let me do this. By the way, the website of this terrific organization has been up there the entire time, Playwrights Theater. But I'm curious about this. Because you've been at this for a long time, in the couple of minutes we have left, when did you know that writing would be your passion in your professional life, even though you've done other things?
When I was 7.
No way!
Yeah.
What did you write?
Well,
how'd you know?
It's a funny story. My mother was a bookkeeper, and she had this old-fashioned typewriter. And I used to sit down at it, and I used to type. And she was really worried that the bookkeeping business was going to suffer because of what I was doing to the typewriter. So they got me this little plastic thing called a Marx writer, which was a toy typewriter, but it did everything a typewriter did. And I would grab these things called the Book of Knowledge, which were part of the Encyclopedia Americana. They were like encyclopedias for kids. And I would open it up, and I would retype the poems that were in the Book of Knowledge. I would retype them, and then I would hide them from my mother because I didn't think poetry was like something boys should be doing.
Got it.
You know? And then from that, I started to do things like scanning poems, which is finding the meter and the rhyme and all of that stuff. And then I began to write. And then when I got to Northwestern, I met a guy named Keith Radine, who is actually a rather well-known writer now. And I saw what Keith was doing as a playwright, and I said, I really like this. I really like what you can do. And so I started to write plays myself. And it kind of gets pushed to the side doing what I do because it's a full-time business doing what I do. But I did win a playwriting fellowship from the Arts Council in 2012, and I'm going to have a reading of one of my plays up in Vermont in a little over a week.
You are a fascinating guy, and it's the first time you've joined us for a one-on-one, and I have a feeling it won't be the last. Thank you. John, the artistic director over at Playwrights Theater, I want to thank you. Good stuff.
Thank you for having me on. Really appreciate it.
That was great.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato at NJPAC has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating 25 years of broadcast excellence, and by the New Jersey Performing Arts Center, in cooperation with NJTV and 134 WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One at NJPAC with Steve Adubato has been provided by the law firm of Gibbons PC, Hackensack University Health Network, New Jersey's credit unions, Cohn Resnick, Fedway Associates Inc., New Jersey Natural Gas, and by Berkeley College. Promotional support provided by the Star Ledger and NJ.com. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.